Hey guys, welcome to this breakdown of UFC 250's excellent fight between Garbrandt and Assunção. Now, what I really liked is that we've seen some less than sterling performances by Cody Garbrandt in his last three fights, and he kind of lost them. And in this fight against Raphael Assunção, he did really well. So I'm going to go to the breakdown right away, but just a quick note. One of the key factors of his previous losses for Cody was that he kind of lost his temper. He didn't maintain his control over himself, over what he was planning to do. So he got knocked out and he lost all his fights. Now, here's the point. He's an extremely well-gifted athlete. He's really fast. He's really strong. And when he wants to, he can put on amazing performances. Again, like I said before, look at his fight against Cruz. In this fight, I was really interested to see what he would do. So let's get started. This is late in the round. So this is the last few seconds of the round when this happens. I'm going to go to the knockout first and then backtrack a little bit to what happens right before we see this. First things first, notice what he's doing. He's looking straight at his opponent. So he's measuring and he's waiting. He's luring him in. This is being perceptually ready. That means that you can break a little bit of the time it needs to react if you are perceptually ready for what comes next or for what you're expecting. So this is a smart move. This is also a good tactical move because we're at the end of the round. So what he's going to do, he's going to dip down and basically invite Assunção to come in and then clock him with that big right hand. That is risky. High risk, high reward. However, it's late at the round. So if he does get knocked down or he does get hurt, Cody has a full minute to recover. So if there's a time and place to do this, this is it. Now I'm going to let this go really slow so you guys can watch it. So notice how he keeps on watching, a little bit of movement, and you can see here that Assunção is inching closer. He's got his hands relatively low, but ready to go, but he's inching closer. If you look at what his footwork is doing, he's getting bit by bit closer, and he knows there's a trap, but he doesn't know what it is. So he's trying to get closer, and all of a sudden you see Cody duck. Now notice the rotation here in Assunção's shoulder. So as he sees that dip going, the lowering of the level, the bending forward, he rotates his shoulder in. So he's expecting to do something and he's watching as well. So he's watching what Cody's doing, and Cody, as you look at his gaze here, he's keeping Assunção in his peripheral vision. A lot of guys mess up when they don't do that. So keep track of what your opponent is doing when you try something flashy. So in here you see he's all the way down. See the left hand goes forward from Assunção. So he's kind of trying to do something, but then he decides on the counter. So you can see here his hand is dropping. So he's getting ready to throw that hook, right? So notice the hand goes all the way back, and then here he whips into his strike. Now he's beating Cody to the punch. He lands first. Notice he makes contact here at the chest. So he lands first, but he doesn't do damage. Second thing, notice his hand on the left side is low. He's got no defense. This is wide open. So that right hand can come in at full speed, full power and knock him out. But remember this key point, he lands first. See, his punch is finished, and then Cody's punch comes over the top, cracks him, and that's it. That's all she wrote. So that's a key point. This is a risky maneuver, like I said, from Cody, but it's high risk, high reward. Now, one thing I also want to mention, if you're in this position, you can see it from this angle. I'll show you another angle in a little bit. But what Assunção does, he drops his hand to throw that big hook. Don't drop your hands. I know this is difficult, takes a lot of training. Even trained fighters make mistakes, and we all get tired. And when we get tired, we tend to drop our hands. Don't do that, because it takes more time to do that punch. Go all the way back. See here, the torque has already started and his hand's still going back. Yes, I know about whipping power and accelerating the fist. Doesn't matter. It slows it down. And he hits too low. So you can see that he is a full level too low here with his fist. You can see that this is the level he should be aiming at, and he is hitting a full level too low. So that doesn't work. So that's the first thing I wanted to cover. Next thing, what Cody does, what you'll see here, is that he's standing in a regular stance. Again, this is risky, but he's well trained. He knows he's fast. He knows he hits hard, so it's worth the risk. He's going to dip down. I want you to focus on what he does with his knees and the way his body posture is going to be affected by the dipping down and dropping the level. So watch those knees. Notice how they bend, and also notice that he has a slight bend in his back, but he is not in a curved position in his spine. This is critical if you want to develop power. So what Cody's going to do is what looks like more or less a stationary swivel punch. It's not a true swivel punch, because in the swivel punch you would step, but the mechanics are extremely similar. So he's got his weight pretty much over his right foot, and he's oriented towards his right side. He's going to transfer weight to his left foot and then make a corkscrew motion with his entire body, as at the same time he is going to bring his spine into a vertical position. That creates a tremendous amount of power. And that is the point with this kind of technique, is that it hits so hard, so much power in this one here, but you need to land it and you need to not get hit. And I'll cover what Assunção could have done in this case to actually hurt Cody really bad in this one. So moving on, he is going to go into the upright position. Okay, hold on here. So he's driving from his legs. So his feet are doing his legs are doing the work. He's driving from his legs to start bringing his spine into a vertical position again. And he's going to pivot that left knee out and that right knee inwards. And again, it takes good balance, good technique, good training. He's going to pivot on the spot. Notice the rotation. I'll do it again. Notice the left knee goes out, right knee goes in, and at the same time his spine goes into a vertical position. So that is what's driving the power in this punch. It's not an arm punch at all. This is good technique. It's really, really good technique from Cody. And notice the torque that develops. So everything his legs are doing and everything his spine is doing is creating a tremendous amount of rotational force. And that is the engine of the technique. And then you attach a limb to that. And you focus all that energy into a punch, into the fist. So that is going to create so much power that it's really, even if Assunção would have had his guard up, I think he would have been badly hurt anyway. So he hits, and notice also he drives through, right? So he doesn't stop on impact, he pulls all the way across, so that's cutting impact, and that is what causes the knockout. Now, I want you to focus on one thing, and I'll zoom in so you can see. So I want you to focus on Cody's fist and forearm. So I'm going to try and slow this down so we can get the close-up. Okay, now here, this is where he made contact, and look at his fist and forearm. Notice that there's a slight bump here. This is the moment where his fist bends, his wrist bends a little bit as he lands. With this kind of power, if you don't have good alignment in your wrist, you can actually break your hand and break your wrist. So obviously Cody is a professional. He's not a beginner, and he's taped in and so on. But when you practice this, just be careful, right? So moving on to the last part, what I wanted to mention is this point here. So I'm going to let it ride out, and then we're going to get to the previous part, just as we see what happens before the knockout here. So I'm going to slow it down so you guys can see. So just at the end, Assunção throws this actually quite a nice jump roundhouse kick and follows up. So there you have a little bit of this back and forth here, limp legging to get that kick out of there. And then I want you to notice as soon, I'll see if I can make it a little bit more visual here. I want you to notice the small dip that Cody does right here in a few seconds. So hold on, I want you to notice what his head does here, right? This is a miniature version of what he's going to do next. So this is showing Assunção something, and showing that afterwards, notice the dip here. Assunção sees this. He sees that his opponent, Cody sees that his opponent has spotted what he just did. And what does he show him? He shows him, dude, I'm just gonna stand back up and drop my hands. So he's programming his opponent. He's trying to develop patterns, and then he's going to break the pattern. So it's tricky because he only has a few seconds left, but this is what he does. So that's a really sneaky move on Cody's part, and really well done. So Assunção is not a stupid guy. He's going to inch his way closer. So I want you to focus on the footwork this time of Assunção. Look at how he's going to inch closer bit by bit. So you're going to see that he's taking stock. He resets, left foot drags steps forward, right foot steps forward. He inches closer, left foot steps forward, right foot steps forward. Notice how he's inching into striking range, and this is where it starts. So I'm gonna bring this up a little bit higher again. So he is bit by bit going from relatively long range, he's increasing he's decreasing sort of the distance, and he gets into range to strike. Cody sees this. Notice he's staring him right in the eyes, and he sees what's going on. So he's waiting very patiently. And he has just shown Assunção that, hey guy, if I'm ducking, it's fine. I'm just going to stand back up again. And then he shows him that duck again. Assunção takes a half beat to figure out what's going on, and then he goes for his hook, and he misses, and Cody does not. So again, notice how he misses. So it looks like he wants to catch Cody on the way up from his bent over position, but he aims low and he misses, and that's all she wrote. So that is the main point that I wanted to show you guys, is that it's also about the timing and the distancing, and making sure that you are watching what your opponent does as you are working, as opposed to just guessing, well, I'm sure he's going to do that. Now this was risky. This is really risky, but it paid off for Cody in the end. Now, what could Assunção have done in this case? It's going to rewind until we get to this phase here. So the kick is just over. He managed to get his leg out, and you can see that he's going to back up, break away, because he knows that Cody's a hard striker. So he backs up a little bit and he takes stock, right? And this is the moment where he sees that Cody's going to do something tricky, so he watches, right? So at this stage, what he could have done, see, he's inching his way forward. What I would have preferred, for instance, one of the tactics that I like to use is, if you see a guy showboating, throw a feint. Do a quick feint with either hand, with either leg, just picking up the foot a little bit, just bending your knee in a snap forward a little bit, do a little bit of a hip twist, do anything to basically call his bluff. If he reacts, fine, you can work with that. If he doesn't react, I would use it, I would throw a technique. Now in this case, because Cody has his hands low and the distance is still fairly large, one of the things that he could have done is from inching closer, just throw a feint with that right hand, and then throw a really hard body kick to make sure that he lands. Why a body kick? Well, Cody won't be able to escape that. Even if he blocks, he's going to eat that kick. He's got his back against the cage. He's got nowhere to go. And he's standing pretty much flat-footed, so he won't be able to get away in time. And if it fails, if your leg gets caught, again, this is the last 2 seconds of the round, so you're going to be fine. The referee is going to pull you guys apart, and you'll be fine, right? So that was the breakdown of this video. I just wanted to make sure that you guys got a little bit of a more in detail look of this beautiful knockout. It's really good work from Cody. I am looking forward to see who he's going to fight next. I'm sure it's going to be spectacular fights that we're going to get from him in the future. So great job, well done. Looking forward to the rest. Everybody, thank you. Like, share, subscribe, and if you can, check out my Facebook page. You want to buy one of my books to support the channel, that would be awesome. I appreciate it a lot. Everybody, take care. Talk to you next time.